Do it.
Welcome to the Positive Sports Podcast. I'll be your host this afternoon, Ed Montana. Alongside me today, my baseball junkie brother, Alex. Alex, how you doing today?
I'm ready to get this started. MLB preview.
The baseball season's right around the corner.
I can smell it. I can smell it. Actually, it's already started.
That's right. Those two games in Japan is really going to influence my pick. I was going to pick the Astros to win the West, but now that Seattle started off 2-0, I mean the Astros are in a bit of a hole.
Yeah, I mean they start the season down.
Yeah,
Two games back.
One game back.
One game back. Well, one game back.
Yeah.
Still,
I mean
every game matters.
That's right. They're two back in the win column.
Yeah. So how cool is it that Ichiro Suzuki, which is still weird pronouncing his last. I just say Ichiro. I don't pronounce.
It's like a motorcycle.
Yeah, I can't do it.
Anyway.
So Ichiro retired in the middle of the game.
Did he? I thought he retired after the game.
No, because they pulled him out in the last inning.
Yeah, but he didn't announce his retirement until after the game.
Well, the announcers announced that he was retiring.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I didn't hear that part.
Yeah.
I must have missed it. I was.
Well,
did you get up and watch the games?
No.
I did.
No.
Now, when I say I got up and watched them, I woke up.
You peeked your head out of the blanket.
I woke up, turned the TV on, watched, fell asleep, watched, fell asleep, watched, fell asleep, watched, fell asleep. I probably ended up taking, 32 5-minute naps in between.
That's a bunch of snoozing, man.
I didn't hit the snooze button. It's just it's early, it's really quiet in the house, and I'm just like watching the game, and then between innings, it's a commercial for a whole minute.
So we kind of talked about this earlier this week, and for everyone who's watching or listening to this podcast, would you have stayed up for a little bit longer had it been, Yankees, Red Sox, or I don't know, Cardinals, Cubs?
The only teams that would have made me stay up more, I still would have snoozed some, inevitably. The only teams I would have stayed up more for, Mets, Yankees, and probably the Astros. Regardless of who they were playing. So if the Mets were playing the Marlins, I probably would have stayed up more. If the Astros were playing the Mariners and Ichiro wasn't retiring, I would have stayed up more. But any other combination of teams, like even like a rivalry game like St. Louis and Chicago, I probably would have been in and out like I was Wednesday and Thursday.
Well, I think they're having some more international series during the season. I think the Yankees and the Red Sox are playing, and then you got like the Cardinals and the Cubs playing in Mexico.
I was going to say, don't they go to Mexico usually?
They do.
Like a 2-game set?
Yeah, Cardinals and Cubs do, but I think the Yankees and the Red Sox are
going where?
Different time, like I don't know, Japan or something. Like
back to Japan?
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't get it. Like I don't really see the point of doing it, because with the NFL I understand, because they're going into a market that has nothing, right? Japan's got their own baseball league. They don't give a shit about ours.
Yeah.
I don't think it does much for the MLB.
Well, I mean, being 162 games, I just feel like, that's
certainly you have the bandwidth to spare a few games.
Yeah.
Right. It's not in the NFL. 1 game out of 16, it's a big deal.
Right.
So yeah, certainly you have the bandwidth, but I don't know. I don't see that it does much for the MLB, and quite frankly, they don't promote it very much.
I haven't seen anything.
Right? Like, did you even see highlights on SportsCenter at night after those games? Maybe a little bit about Ichiro, but that's about it.
Yeah.
At the end, I don't even think they told you who won the game.
Well, you go to MLB Network and you get everything right there.
I know, but that's not gonna, again, they're not on the only people on MLB Network are the hardcores, right? If you're sending 2 teams over to Japan, you're trying to pull in casuals or kids, you're trying to expand your demographics, and not promoting it doesn't do much.
Yeah.
So I thought it was kind of, I've always thought it's kind of odd, but whatever.
All right,
Don't care.
Let's get into this bad puppy.
A bat puppy?
No, not a bat puppy.
What's a bat puppy?
I guess it would be Bat puppy.
A what? A bat puppy?
A bad puppy.
A bad puppy. Why is this a bad puppy?
It's a bad puppy.
What do you know about puppies?
I know nothing about puppies.
Hey, man.
I know a whole lot of shit about baseball, though.
I'll tell you what, we're coming towards the end of the month of March.
Mm-hmm.
And we've got to do something different next March.
What do you mean?
We've got, I don't know, there's 30 days in the month. We've got probably 25 birthdays in the month of March. We get together for damn near all of them. We have cake and ice cream, and we always sing happy birthday. We have got to be the worst singing family ever. I'm not
whose
doing
birthday
it anymore.
was it?
I'm not doing it anymore. I'm
remember.
I'm pulling it up like Stevie Wonder singing happy birthday on YouTube next
Wait a
week.
second. You didn't even sing at the birthday.
Because I'm terrible. But
God,
as I was,
exactly. You need
as
to
I was
try.
as I was mouthing the words, I was listening to the rest of y'all, and y'all are terrible too.
Yeah, but you could have made it better. You didn't
I don't
even
think I
try.
made
We
it.
all tried.
Look, if I'm better than the rest of the family, it ain't by much. It may have made it better, but it wouldn't have been good.
Yeah, that was a pretty bad performance by the whole Montana family.
Jeez, I mean, it was painful to listen to. All right. Anyway, had to get that off my chest. So we going American League, National League, East, West, Central. I feel like we should never go Central first
Why not?
because it feels wrong.
Because
When you start in the East, you know you're going Central next. But when you start in the Central, it's like, do I go West? Do I go East? Hey, how about we just fucking potluck it?
Well, yeah.
All right,
sure,
let's go.
We could.
NL Central. So we'll start with the NL Central. Just to recap, right? The Brewers made a ferocious comeback over the Cubs, ended up winning the division by a game, 96 wins to the Cubs 95. The Cardinals were in it pretty much until the end. They did not get the wild card, but they were just a couple games behind.
They won 95 games.
Who?
The Cubs.
Yes, the Cubs won 95
I mean,
games.
if I'm not looking at the standings, I don't remember that.
They were in control most of the season.
Wait a second. They made the playoffs.
They did.
No, they didn't.
Yeah, they did. They played the wild card game.
The
against
163rd game?
That's the playoff game. And then you had Pittsburgh, who, above 500, which is good. And then Cincinnati, which is, I didn't even realize they still had a baseball team. So as we're looking at 2019, any thoughts?
Well, I think the Brewers are still the team to beat in that division.
I agree.
I don't recall what moves they made this winter, but I mean, to me, I don't know. The Cubs and the Cardinals are probably the only two other teams that could give them a run. I don't know.
Yeah, it's a 3-team race. Actually, I think it's a 2-team race. Excuse me. I think it comes down to the Cubs and the Brewers. Christian Yelich was the breakout star of that division last year, right? He had a monster second half. I expect that to continue this year. The Brewers also picked up Yasmani Grandal from the Dodgers, which I'm kind of lukewarm on Grandal. I think he's a good catcher, but sometimes I worry that he's not. Certainly in the playoffs, he struggled. I just don't know what we're going to get from that guy going forward. But that being said, I think the Brewers are the best team in that division. The Cubs are very obviously, to me, the second best team. I think they'll give them a good run for their money. It's been a couple of years now of quietness coming out of Chicago, and it's hard to say that for a team that made the playoffs last year, but the expectation was much higher than just a wild card, and we haven't heard much about Schwarber and Bryant and Rizzo in the last couple of years. They seem to have been relatively quiet. I expect that to change this year.
Their question, I don't know. Now that I think about it, I don't think they're the second best team in that division. I mean, they won the World Series like 2 or 3 years ago, and now they don't have any pitching. Yu Darvish was never the pickup that they thought he could be, and you got Chris Bryant, was pretty injured last year. Jason Hayward, and that big contract that it looks like the Cubs are gonna have to pay every last penny of that contract.
They're eating that thing. No one's ever gonna help them with it.
And Joe Madden is a free agent next year. They haven't even re-signed him. Like, I haven't heard any talks of him, getting an extension, and that's a World Series manager there.
Yeah,
You know?
And that's a big deal because it goes one of two ways when you have a situation like that. Either the players really rally around the guy and it seems like the team takes off and he pushes all the right buttons and they end up going far and he gets a big deal after that. Or the players are like, fuck it, this guy's gone. The organization doesn't really want him. So, yeah, I think in my opinion, as far as second place teams go in divisions, the Cubs are probably the riskiest one, right? If you look around the other divisions as we go through them, you will feel, I shouldn't say you, maybe you won't. I will feel much more confident about 1 and 2 than I do here, where I feel confident about 1, but the Cubs could have the kind of disastrous year where, they end up with 78 wins.
Yeah.
Just a couple of injuries and shit goes wrong. Manager gets fired during the season, and Joe Maddon's not one to hold his tongue. It could go south real fast. But I still think they have enough talent to hold off the rest of what's really a crappy division. I mean, Cincinnati's trying to do a few things. They've picked up a few players here and there. But look, they're still pretty far away. And the Pirates, are like watching paint dry.
I've heard a lot of people pick the Pirates as one of the dark horses. I just don't see it. They do have like one of the top 5 or youngest teams in the majors. They got good pitching prospects, but other than that, I don't feel like they've made any moves to really.
No,
unlike Cincinnati. Now Cincinnati, they look like they're trying. They have a young team. They brought in Puig and Matt Kemp, Sonny Gray. I think they got from the Yankees. Yeah. You can possibly get something good out of him. So that could be a good value pickup right there for the Reds. I like what the Reds are doing. It's another year for what's his name, Price, I think is the manager.
Yeah, he's
gonna have a full season now. I can really see Cincinnati fighting for that number 3 spot in the Central. I can really see that.
That's a big jump. You're talking about a team that won 67 games last year.
You don't think they can do 13 games better? 80 games?
80? I don't think they'll make it quite that far.
You think that's a stretch?
I think that's a stretch.
Yeah?
75, yeah. 75, yeah. And especially with the Pirates, I think going down, if the Cubs implode like the scenario I laid out a little while ago, then yeah, maybe. But other than that, man, it's tough to tack on that many wins from one year to the next. So, it happens very rarely that a team's picked last and ends up going to the World Series like the 2005 White Sox, right?
Well, but look around the teams last year. You got Atlanta, who's a pretty young team, and they kind of came out of nowhere and played, and they did it off, super young Ronald Acuna, right? So, a team like the Reds that's young and a team like the Pirates that's young, who's to say they can't have one of those magical runs? Now, the one team that we haven't really touched on is the Cardinals. The Cardinals made a big free agent pickup, or via trade, I believe, for Paul Goldschmidt, who I think everybody seemed to forget about because it happened so early
in the process,
in free agency. But they haven't had a player, maybe face of the franchise since Pujols left.
Right.
And they've extended him 5 years, $130 million. That was they had to do that, and they gave up basically nothing for him in the trade. So
they gave up their first baseman, but you replace him with a better first baseman. So.
Right. And they have They also have a pretty young team. If you look at their pitching, they got some, Alex Reyes, who looks like he's going to finally get a nod in the starting rotation. So, the Cardinals are always going to be the Cardinals. It seems like they're in it even when they're not for some reason. And I'm looking at it now, 88 wins last year. I mean, that's pretty good. That's pretty good, But
yeah, no, they always manage to stay in for the long haul. Now, Matheny is out as manager. They have a new manager.
Yeah.
He came in halfway through the season last year or whatever, so we'll see how that plays out. And you're right, Goldschmidt is a good addition to that team. I just don't know that it's going to be good enough to catch Milwaukee. And again, if Chicago slips up at all, yeah, absolutely St. Louis is going to be in that number 2 spot, fighting for the wild card. They missed the wild card by a couple games last year. So
who did St. Louis? St. Louis must have picked up somebody else. There's just no way they...
through free agency, I don't recall.
No? There we go. Oh, well, this is a pretty good pick. I think this is way too much for a relief pitcher, a 33-year-old relief pitcher, Andrew Miller.
Oh, that's right.
They picked up Andrew Miller. Who else did they go out and get? I have a feeling they
Goldschmidt
went and got somebody else.
Miller.
That's way too much money for a reliever.
Yeah, but it's not your money.
Well, none of it is my money, but my opinion is that that's too much for a reliever.
It is a lot.
For someone who doesn't pitch more than 100 innings a year in a season.
Yeah. It depends. Like
that's starting. That's starter's money right there.
It's kind of funny how the money thing works, right? When you see a big money deal, and I'm sure we'll talk about this more as we talk about Mike Trout and Bryce Harper and all this other stuff, Machado, but the big money deals are only a big deal if it's going to stop you from spending money. So if the Mets spend a bunch of money on a player, well then that's a problem because they're not going to spend it someplace else.
Right.
If the Yankees spend $33 million on it doesn't matter because the Yankees will spend $33 million at every position. They don't give a shit.
Yeah.
So it just kind of depends. The Cardinals, I think, are a little bit more frugal than that. So $33 million, is a bit tough, but. You're starting to change my mind. They might be better than the Cubs.
Who's the Cardinals?
Yeah, as I said it out loud, the situation with the Cubs, it's making me nervous now when I think about it.
Well, I mean, when we first started, I say Milwaukee Cubs. I mean but then I'm like, I just can't count out the Cardinals. I mean, they just seem to be, to click at the right time for some reason, and even though they're not major moves, they're still. I mean, those are 2 pretty good pickups for a team.
You want to pick division winners as we do this, or you want to do it at the end?
No, we can do it now.
Okay. Brewers.
See,
Milwaukee.
See, I'm gonna go Cardinals now.
Okay.
I'm gonna switch it up and go Cardinals. I like living dangerously. Damn it.
Okay.
Any bold prediction for this Central Division? Any letdown team? Any surprises? Any breakout players that you can think of? Any brawls that you can think of that will happen between the Cubs and the Cardinals?
No brawls. Baseball doesn't do the brawling thing anymore. It doesn't happen very much.
Yeah, they should bring it back.
No, I mean I think this is kind of a vanilla division.
Yeah.
It's not, I really do think that the Brewers have found something with that team. I think it's a really good squad, and I think they're going to dominate that division.
Dominate. That's a bold prediction. Dominate.
I mean, dominate in the sense that I think they're going to win it by 3 or 4 games, and
well, that's not dominating.
Well, in baseball, winning your division by 3 or 4 games is kind of a big deal. 3, 4, 5 games, making the playoffs easily. Yeah.
Now, but it's really not, because you're going to be playing a division team during the last weekend of the playoffs. So I mean, like, if they're
last week of the season.
Yeah, last week of the season. So I mean, it's like,
Yeah, but I feel like it's one of those things where it's just gonna look easy for the Brewers. Whether they end up winning the division by 8 games or 3 games, I think it's just gonna look easy for them. I think they're considerably better than the rest of that division. So no, I don't have anything crazy.
Oh man, Cardinals fans are gonna come after you on the comment section.
Yeah. Let's move to the National League West.
All right, let's go.
So
let's go to the West.
So let's recap a little bit. Last year, the Dodgers won the West by a game with 92 wins over the Rockies. A little bit further back, you had the Diamondbacks at 82 wins, the Giants at 73, and the Padres at 66. I think this is one of those really interesting divisions this year because the Dodgers are good. I think the Rockies are good. Arizona sold off and traded away everything they had, so they are gonna, they're going. It looks like they're doing the Miami Marlins thing, and the Giants are decent, not great, but then you've got the very interesting San Diego Padres with the addition of Manny Machado. They spent a lot of money, right? 10 years, $300 million to get Manny Machado. The word is that they're not done, that they're going to go out and try to get other players. So it should be interesting at least to see what they do going forward. And where it's really going to get interesting is if they're players, at the trade deadline, if they're buyers or sellers, right? If they're close, are they going to be buyers or sellers? It's going to be interesting. I think the Dodgers and the Rockies are really good. I think the Rockies have a good young pitching staff. They locked down Arenado. I feel like that guy wants to be there, is happy to be there. He's a good ball player. He's set now. He can just focus on playing baseball. Doesn't have to hear anything about contracts. Doesn't have to worry about impending free agency. And I think he's going to have a monster year this year. And I think he's going to be, he's becoming the face of the franchise.
Oh, yeah. And one of the top third basemen in the league. I mean, there's very few good ones. But
I would dare to say the top third baseman in the league.
Yeah.
Off the top of my head, I can't think of anyone better.
No?
There's some good ones out there, but, Jose Ramirez is pretty good. But
Arenado's a little better.
I think Arenado's better.
He's pretty filthy with the glove.
I think he's better, and I think he's going to have a great year. So I'm excited to see how this plays out with them and the Dodgers this year. I think that could be a real dogfight.
Yeah, this division I have mixed feelings about. I had a question, and I think this is a good time to bring it up. Is third time a charm? Can the Dodgers do it? Because, they've been to the World Series 2 times now. And it looks like, I hate to say it, but it looks like Clayton Kershaw, he's getting a little bit older. He's logged a lot of innings. We've seen him, be out for a month or two last season.
He's going to start off the year on the DL, right?
Right. You lose Kemp, you lose Puig. That's not, Mike Trout and Bryce Harper. But those are, players that help that team win and get to where they got to the past 2 seasons. They didn't go get Bryce Harper like some thought. They did pick up, who did they picked up somebody.
They lost Grandal as well.
They lost Grandal, but they picked up somebody else, and I can't freaking remember. Who the hell did they pick up? AJ Pollock, that's
a good pickup.
If he can stay healthy,
right?
I think that's a good pickup. But you have to wonder, can they get over the hump? This is going to be pretty much a make or break year.
I feel like the Dodgers are doing a little bit of retooling and reloading. They're not rebuilding, right? It's not like they scrapped everything and they're starting over. But they did get rid of some pieces. They let Grandal go, Puig, Kemp. But they have good young players. They've got Seager. They've got a good young squad as well. Kershaw's there, but he's injured. He's a little bit older. They picked up AJ Pollock, who's good. So I feel like they're in a not exactly rebuilding mode, but I don't think they're going to be one of the dominant teams in the NL. So I'm not even really looking for them to make it to the World Series. I'm just looking to see if they're going to be able to compete in the NL West.
Because it's the West, and I don't see, Arizona is I don't know what they're doing. They're going to finish in the bottom of that division, 4th or 5th.
Yeah, Arizona's the worst team in that division.
Well, okay, so I'll give you my one or two bold predictions. The Giants are going to be one of the worst teams in baseball. I don't think that team is very good at all, and I would not be surprised if Bumgarner gets traded. Let's remember Bochy's out of there after the season. That's not going to be the same team. So this could very well be a case, like you mentioned earlier, with the Cubs. Does the team play for the coach and leave it all out there in his final year, or are they just not talented enough, to really compete with the rest of the division and baseball?
Yeah, I don't do a whole lot of analysis on which is worse. I try to look at stuff of which is better. So I don't know that the Giants are going to be worse than the Diamondbacks or the Diamondbacks worse than the Giants, but I think those two are going to be pretty bad.
Yeah, they're going to be pretty bad. And I wouldn't be surprised if Bumgarner gets traded.
Yeah, that a team that's in a rebuilding mode, why would you hold on to that piece? That that he's got some miles on him as well. And may as well turn it into 2 or 3 players as opposed to one.
Right.
So yeah, I agree with you. I wouldn't be surprised to see him gone. And with it being Bochy's last year, it's tough to see how that's going to shake out. Yeah. What do you think about the Padres in this mix? Have they done enough to get themselves in the conference? It's interesting, right? Because this division seems to be going through a bit of a transformation, right? Yeah. The Dodgers are going through a transformation. The Rockies are probably going to be as good as last year, maybe a little bit better. And the Padres are going through a transformation. The Diamondbacks are going through a bad transformation. And the Giants are, who knows?
Up in the air.
So this is probably, so you can kind of see the top, right? Dodgers, Rockies, Rockies, Dodgers. You can see the bottom. So in my opinion, right, you got the Padres slotted right in the middle. Right. But are they closer to the Dodgers and Rockies, or are they closer to the Giants and D-backs? How do you see it?
I think they're definitely closer to the top of the division, and they are 2 starting pitchers, not exactly an ace, maybe a 2 and a 3 away from possibly taking this division by the horns. This is a team that is just filled with prospects, and they look to be very good prospects. Manny Machado, obviously. You put him on any team, I think he's gonna play to what to the level that's expected. I mean, the Padres are exactly kind of the picture you painted, right in the middle, but they are trending to really overtake this division.
I think they have a shot at passing the Dodgers. I think Colorado wins this division. You can go ahead and pencil me down. Rockies in the West. It'll be very interesting to see the Padres and Dodgers go through the season. But I think the Padres might be good enough to actually overtake the Dodgers and take second.
Yeah, again, their starting pitching is not... Great. I can't even name a starter. They named their starter today, and I'm like, who is this guy? I really don't know. So, again, they the amount of prospects that they have could be... could be the way to getting them a starter that they can rely on heavily, right?
Yeah.
So it's tough. I think they're stuck right there at the number 3 in that division. I would say Rockies too. I don't trust the Dodgers just because. I mean, we've seen it year after year with them that they just can't get over it, and to reach the World Series for a 3rd year in a row is
that would be quite a feat.
No small task. It's hard.
It's very hard to do. What a difference a year makes, right? Last year when we were talking about this division, we both said that the Dodgers were going to run away with it. We had different definitions of run away, but and all year we spent just waiting for them to kind of click, and they didn't. They had a lot of injuries in the beginning of the season. And now we're barely thinking they're going to be 3rd. So, what a difference a year makes.
Well, that's the beauty of sports, I guess.
Yep.
Right.
Every year's a new soap opera.
And free agency, you just don't know where the hell some of these players are gonna end up in, right?
Yeah, absolutely. All right, let's move on to the National League East. Did anything happen in the offseason in the National League East?
Absolutely nothing. Let's skip past it.
I mean, nothing happened. Hey, look, this is, to me, hands down the best division in baseball. Top to bottom, right? Every team's got a shitty team at the bottom.
Almost to the bottom.
Every division has a shitty team at the bottom. But 1 through 4, we're going to be hard pressed to find another division as good as this one.
Oh yeah, the Marlins are going to run away with it. I agree with you.
The Marlins, they're still trying to get rid of players. They're trying to find a way to
They need to get rid of Derek Jeter. I mean, shit. All he did was help out the Yankees and get rid of everybody else.
Yeah, it's just crazy. The biggest story in the National League East, right? Bryce Harper going to the Phillies. But you know what? I think there's a lot of other good stories in there. Atlanta didn't do much in the offseason, it felt like. But that was a solid young team from the get-go. The Nationals, obviously they lost Bryce Harper, and that's all people want to talk about. But they made some other moves that I think helps bolster them. Oh. And that's a team with some good pitching, right? They picked up Patrick Corbin, who was with the D-backs last year. Right. So now they've got a pretty formidable three-headed monster in Scherzer, Strasburg, and Corbin. Now, I understand that you lost, a potential Hall of Famer in Bryce Harper, but you got starters like that mowing them down. That's gonna be a tough team to beat.
Yeah, definitely. The Nationals have, I think they've, what's the saying, addition by subtraction. This might be the year where Bryce Harper's not on that team in that clubhouse, and they somehow find a way to. They're the exact opposite of the Dodgers. They've come close, right? Or they've had all this potential to get there, and they haven't. The Dodgers have gotten there, but just haven't won. The Nationals also picked up Hellickson.
Well, Hellickson was already on there. Sanchez is the one they got from Anibal Sanchez from the Braves. So that's a pickup within your division. So you're picking up something and they're losing something. So that's even better.
And the Nationals have they have a solid young team, man. Trey, what's his name? The shortstop, Trey Turner. And they have Michael Taylor out there in the outfield. Anthony Rendon.
Yeah, that third base.
They've got a
solid team. I think that a lot of people are sleeping on the Nationals because they lost Bryce Harper and aren't paying attention to the additions that they made to the pitching staff and the fact that they had a pretty decent lineup to begin with. I think they may quietly be the biggest threat in the National League East.
Yeah, could be. The Braves just, I don't know. I see a minor, but I see a step back from them this year.
They won 90 games last year. So a minor setback,
85 wins,
could put them out. 85 wins
might win the division. 85 games because they're going to be battling amongst each other. So 85 could do it. It could.
I don't know. 85 won't do it to win the division, and if you win 85, you're not going to make the wild card. I feel like 85 is too low. 88, I think, is the lowest that you're going to win the division with. Unless it's some anomaly, right? But
well, I mean, if you look at it now, the Braves won 90 games with them being pretty good from beginning to end. And, the Phillies fell back. They lost a bunch of head-to-head games with the Braves. The Mets were the Mets, the Marlins. So, to say 85 wins, I mean, I think that's a solid number to win that division, especially now that you have 4 teams that are, a little more competitive than last year. So,
inevitably, I think that when you have a really competitive division, one team will fall off at some point. Like mid-July, August, they'll fade to black. And, that's how you end up with.
Yeah, but I think in this case, it's
88,
it's
90,
just
95
the Marlins
wins.
that will fall behind in July. I don't.
Well,
think...
the Marlins are never going to be in it.
Right. So, yeah. So you.
But what I'm saying is one of those other teams will fade somehow.
But Like in July, like in the middle.
Yeah,
you think so?
Yeah, it happens. It happens more often than not when you
Yeah.
think you've got a packed division and all the teams are good, right? Except for one. When you've got 4 really good teams in one division, inevitably one team falls off at one point because it's pressure packed and someone cracks.
Yeah.
Someone cracks in July, someone else cracks in September, and someone else ends up winning the division, right? And that's kind of what we saw last year. The Nationals cracked early, right? And then the Phillies cracked pretty late.
Yeah.
And the Braves ended up winning. So, and the Mets were never really in it, and neither were the Marlins.
Right.
I think something similar will happen this year. The thing is I don't know who's going to crack, right? I don't know who's going to be the last team standing.
Yeah.
Because I think those 4 teams are good. To me, it's a 3-horse race, really. I think the Mets are the odd man out there.
Mm-hmm.
It comes down to Atlanta, Washington, and Philly. Philly added Bryce Harper. They added Real Muto. They added McCutchen. They've really made additions to a team that was young and talented before that. So, you really got to talk highly of the Phillies as well. As we're talking through this, I almost feel like I'm narrowing it down to a 2-horse race between Washington and Philly, because Atlanta really didn't do much, and they lost Sanchez, which I think is a big deal.
Who the heck did the Braves pick up? Let's look at this thing.
Nobody.
No, they picked. I think they brought back. Okay, they picked up Josh Donaldson at third base. So that could be, if he stays healthy, that could be a good move.
Yeah.
They brought back McCann, the catcher. They re-signed.
Let's be fair, McCann's like 85 years old.
No, yeah, I know, but still, it's a veteran presence, especially at that position. I think it's important for those young pitchers.
True.
And Markakis, that was a good. He's 35. I thought he was younger than that. Okay, well, whatever then.
They didn't lose Markakis because no one wanted Markakis.
Right. Yeah, I didn't realize he was 35. I thought he was a little younger than that. So.
As we talk about this more and more, I'm coming down to a Washington-Philly finish.
So, I mean, on paper, Philly's probably the best team in the division. But, I say probably because I don't believe that they have any pitching. Nola did great last year.
Right. Cy
Young candidate, that's great. I don't think he's gonna get any more better than that. I just don't think he's going to be any better.
Any more better?
Yeah, I don't go fuck about English. This is baseball. I'm talking baseball.
I think he is going to be a little more better.
Just a little more.
I think he's going to get better. I think he's an up and coming star, and I think he's on that trajectory upward. I think he's going to be better this year than he was last year. Obviously, he's not going to be the breakout star that he was last year because it's hard to break out twice.
Even if he is, I can't name you another starter on
the problem with
that rotation. They did good by picking up David Robertson, the relief pitcher. The Phillies really, I believe they went out and they were focused on just getting the team better. They brought a lot of different pieces. I just don't see a team that brings in so many different pieces in one season win that first season.
Right, it may take a year.
It may take a year, yes, exactly.
Yeah, my problem with the Phillies, look, I think if you're talking about which is the more complete team, I think you're looking at the Nationals. You've got pitching, you've got hitting. Their relief pitching is a little suspect, but, serviceable, right? But what the Phillies did for themselves on offense, that can cover up a lot of pitching. You can win a lot of games 8-7. You know what I mean? So the Phillies, I think, are a very real threat to win the division. And as we sit here and talk about it, obviously I've thought about this before today's episode, but I've had a hard time making up my mind who I thought would win the division. And as we're sitting here talking about it, I'm still having a very hard time figuring out who I think is going to be 1 and who's going to be 2. And that being said, having gone through the other divisions, I think 1 and 2 make the playoffs. It's just obviously the difference between being the wild card and being a division winner.
Right.
So I think they're both going to make the playoffs. I really struggle to see who's going to win it.
Yeah.
Who do you think is going to? I'm going to put you on the spot first. I think we've covered the division now. Now it's time to start making some picks. Winner?
I mean, I have to say the Nationals right now, and just for the record, I don't think the wild card comes out of that division. I really think we're gonna see around 85 wins from the division winner, and whoever's in second is not gonna have enough.
The division winner's got 85.
I don't think they're gonna have enough.
I'm gonna go with the Phillies. I think they're going to ride Harper Mania in the first year. And I think the pitching is going to be better than we give it credit for. But, man, put an asterisk there. That one was really, really close for me. You can go ahead and put one of my wild cards down, too.
Okay.
Because
so you think who's your wild card?
The Nationals, for sure. I think those two teams will get out of that division. You can probably count on one hand how many times in the last 10 years a team has won the division with 85 games. It just doesn't happen that often.
Yeah.
So I don't think it's going to happen here. I think you're looking at 90 and 88, 89, 88, 91, 89, something like that. I think it's going to be that close. And, I think it's going to be enough for the second place team to go ahead and get themselves a spot in the wild card. You want to go to the next division, or you want to play out put in the five playoff teams?
We can do the 5 playoff teams. So I guess
so. Nationals are one of my wild card, and then my other wild card is going to be the Padres.
Wait, I didn't put another wild card here.
Well, that sounds like your problem.
So you think
have to write smaller?
No. So the Nationals are going to be the wild card winner.
Yeah, I do. I think the Nationals will beat the Padres in the wild card game.
In the 163rd game, and they're going to go to the playoffs. Okay, so I'm just going to leave it like that. They are the wild card winner, Nationals.
Go ahead and put a little SD on the side so that we know that I picked San Diego as well.
Yeah, I'm just picking
love.
I'm just picking one wild card because that's all it is.
Well,
Baseball needs to change that bullshit.
Of all the things you get worked up about, I find this incredibly amusing.
I find it annoying that they have this. I'm going with the Brewers to get in to win the wild card.
Well, yeah, that's right, because you don't have them win the division.
Yeah, I'm gonna go Brewers. Any surprises out of the NL East? Any bold predictions that you want to give?
I feel like people are sleeping on the Nationals.
Yeah.
I feel like people are really sleeping on the Nationals because they lost Bryce Harper. I think people are going to be surprised when they look at the standings on August 1st and they are neck and neck with the Phillies and, with 50 games left are in a dogfight.
Yeah.
I think people are going to be like, oh, I thought they would suck now that they don't have Bryce Harper. Go figure. There's 24 other guys on a baseball roster.
Do we want to do the awards now?
No, save the awards for the end.
We'll save them for
You
later.
got any surprises?
No, I think this is going to be, I think you're going to see, I think we're going to see a very close division towards the end. The Mets finished, 4th, 13 games back. If 85 games holds true, right, for the winner of the division, I mean, we can see a gap of 7 games between the first 4 teams. I can see that.
That would be a lot of fun to watch.
Yeah.
That'd be a fun September.
Yeah, I can definitely see that. I can see that.
I just don't see the Mets. The Mets just haven't done enough with the hitting.
And I'll give you another one. I can see the Phillies, and I told this Jay the other day. The Phillies strike me as a team that is going to make a move at the deadline and get Bumgarner. I can totally see that happening. I told him that's like a
Cliff. Would be huge.
That's like a Cliff Lee 2.0 transaction there.
That would be an unbelievable deal for them.
I mean, think about it. He's a lefty, okay? He's got playoff experience, World Series. I mean,
That's the kind of move that can put a team over the top for sure.
Absolutely.
Especially a team that's good. I mean, it's not like
he's going
to a mediocre team.
And now what the Phillies do is all of a sudden you take all that pressure off your ace, your current ace, right? Nola. Now he doesn't have that, everyone's favorite word, pressure to go out there and, be dominant every start. You got Bumgarner now. You know what I mean?
But do you, just out of curiosity, and maybe, obviously I played ball when I was a kid, and, we've all faced pressure. Maybe, obviously not at this level, but...
T-ball level.
You're right. Damn, coach always put the tee up too high. I'm a low ball hitter.
You should grow faster.
Haven't they already relieved a lot of pressure on Nola with the changes to the lineup, with the new catcher in Real Muto, with Harper, with McCutcheon? I feel like if I'm Aaron Nola, I go into the season saying, all I got to do is go out and do my thing, and I'm going to pick up a couple extra wins just because I got a much better lineup. That would be my feeling. Whereas on the flip side, if you look at someone like, say, Scherzer probably feels like I still got to go out there and be an ace because my lineup is not quite as good as it was last year.
Yeah. Jacob
DeGrom still has to go. Probably still feels the pressure of having to go out there and be an ace, or have ace type starts. Right? I mean, sure, he's got someone else who can be the ace as well in Syndergaard, but he probably feels the pressure. I gotta have ace type number one starting pitching type starts because my lineup still sucks.
Well, I mean, you can say the Phillies lineup has pressure because they know that their starting pitching sucks and they have to go and score 6, 7, 8 runs a game.
Right, but I feel like when a team has a good lineup and not a lot of good pitching, there's not that much pressure on the hitters.
Yeah.
Because the hitters only go up there 3 times and there's 9 guys doing it. Whereas if it's the other way around, where your lineup isn't very good and you're supposed to be a star pitcher, you're involved in every single play, right?
Yeah.
So and there's nothing you can do about the other side, right? So it's tough.
Yeah, but with Nola, he's the only. I mean, we can't name another starter on that team, so he is the only pitcher.
Right? No. I'm not saying that he's not, but again. He's got a lineup. He's got more lineup to help him now.
Yeah, but, I mean, still, he gets, 30, 35 starts a season. He's going to be expected to go out there 35 starts. And
30 to 34. There's only one pitcher that won 35 starts last year. We already had this argument.
And who was it?
Some guy from the Brewers.
Oh, yeah. From who? The Brewers?
The Brewers.
The Brewers. Who?
I don't remember. I don't remember the name.
Julius Chakin.
Yeah, is he the one that spells Julius funny?
Yeah, Jhou.
Yes, it was him. Shaquem, yes.
Julius.
Very good, Alex.
Julius. My memory's not that bad after all.
Going to the Wayback Machine.
By the way, I've spent enough time on the Phillies, but Real Muto was such a good pickup for the freaking Phillies. We're talking about a guy that can not only hit, but the guy is like one of the fastest. They were showing it on MLB Network. He has one of the fastest times around the bases. He's so big for a catcher. That's amazing.
Impressive for a catcher.
Yeah, he's
big or small. The fact that you can catch and still be one of the fastest guys around the bases.
Well, he's got he's got some muscle on him. He's not like a Brian McCann. I mean, he's pretty. He's a nice stocky boy. Like he can. So that was a huge pickup, man. He's only like 27, 28.
He's good. He's going to be good for a while. We want to take this all the way through to a World Series.
Let's do it. Who's your National League champ? National League champ. Phillies, Brewers, Rockies, Nationals. Oh man.
I'm gonna go Rockies.
Rockies?
Yes. Honestly, I don't know. I think it's
none of us know.
It's very difficult to pick the National League this year, but so I'm just going to take a flyer and I'm going to go Rockies. I'm not going to have a good reason. I'm just going to say I'm going to take a flyer.
The Rockies. Wow.
How about you?
I'm gonna take Man. You know, the Cardinals feel like the team that is going to be the most complete at the end. Like, they're going to overcome injuries. I think Paul Goldschmidt is going to be very similar to what J.D. Martinez was to Boston. The kind of production that he brought to that lineup. And then, you have other players that are, not exactly star players, but they're good role players, and they just come in and do their job. Yeah, I mean, I'm gonna pick the Cardinals on this one. Cardinals are my National League champions.
Alrighty, well, we beat the hell out of the National League. Let's go over to the American League. Let's start with the division that's already started their season. Let's start in the AL West. The Astros won the AL West last year with 103 wins, followed by the Oakland Athletics at 97, Seattle at 89, the Los Angeles Angels of Anaheim with the longest name in the history of sports with 80 wins.
They need to change that.
Texas with 67 wins. I'm going to be honest with you. I don't see this being much different this year. The only difference I see is I think the Astros are going to win the division by more than they did last year. I think the A's were a bit of a flash in the pan last year. They had a really good season, but I don't think they're a 97-win team this year. And Seattle, I don't know that Seattle's going to get 87 more wins this year. They've already got 2. I don't think they're going to make it to 89. The Angels will be better. Hopefully, my man Ohtani will be healthy all year.
Yeah.
And Trout, will be, if not better. Well, he'll be better because he'll play the full season this year. I think he was hurt for a while last year.
Still had an MVP season.
Yeah. The Angels were really beset by injuries last year. I think they're going to be better because of that. I think they'll be healthier, and that will cause them to be better than they were last year. But it's still a long way to go to get to the Astros. I think the Astros are a 100-win team again, and the Rangers suck.
Would you have waited if you were Mike Trout to test free agency and see what's out there, right? Because I mean, worst case scenario, you come back, you re-sign with the Angels, right? I
mean, a bird in the hand's worth 2 in the bush.
I have no idea what that means in baseball terms, please.
I mean, I don't know what I would have done, but I mean, if he really likes it there,
yeah,
then and they offered you $430 million or whatever the number was, yeah, I think I'd do it. I think I'd go ahead and sign.
Yeah, I don't know.
I mean, free agency's nice and all. Don't get me wrong, but it's got to be somewhat tiring. Because you're constantly wondering where you're going to go. You're going back and forth. You're meeting with teams. Your agent's going back. Free agency is fun for the agents. I don't think it's all that much fun for the players.
Right.
I mean, if you were a player that was not getting paid, and all of a sudden, right, like if you were on the Royals, right, and you knew they weren't going to come in with an offer, right, then yeah, maybe it's a little bit fun because now the big boys get involved, right? The Yankees, the Red Sox, right? But if you're Mike Trout and the Angels made it clear that they wanted him, how much? What team's bigger than the Angels, right? They're all big. They've all got the money to shell out a $400 million contract. The Dodgers, the Yankees, the Red Sox, yada yada yada. In that case, it's not that big a deal because you can just go ahead and stay. It's got to be easier that way.
Boy, he got $100 more million than Harper did. That's fucking amazing. That's amazing.
It is. And last year when we were doing this MLB preview, right, we talked about Harper possibly being a $400 million man.
Yeah.
Right? Because he was going to hit free agency. He didn't come close.
No.
We didn't say a word about Mike Trout because, well, he had 3 years left. And we wouldn't have said a word this year either.
No, probably not.
I mean, when
Harper, I think extending him took everyone by surprise.
Yeah,
right?
no, absolutely, because he had 2 years left, and he blew away the $400 million number.
He did.
Amazing.
So, I think the Astros take a step back this year. The Astros really have built a good organization, not just at the major league level, at the minor league level too. And then when you look at their players, right? They extended Altuve last year or the season before. They extend Verlander this past weekend. They extend Bregman during the week. Correa is going to be due up next to get an extension, you would think. They added Michael Brantley in the outfield. They still got Garrett Cole. The Astros have really built a winner here in the last few years. The only thing that scares me with them is between Altuve and Correa are the injuries. Back problems for a shortstop is not pretty. So, but they just have so many people, and then they have Forrest Forrest Whitley coming up through the system. I think he may even start on the 25-man roster. So this is a team that has really been built, with their homegrown players. You got George Springer, a World Series MVP.
They added
right?
Michael Brantley from the Indians.
That's right. So they're putting out a winning team out there. They found their formula, it seems, and I think the last piece to really strengthen their rotation is going to be Dallas Keuchel. I know he's not signed, but I think Dallas Keuchel needs the Astros more than what the Astros need him, because he doesn't have a contract. The Astros are going to keep playing baseball. So at the end of the day, he may just have to come back to reality and just sign, come to some type of agreement with the Astros. And Keuchel is I don't think he's a great of a pitcher, but he's good enough to eat some innings, give you 30 starts possibly, win 12 to 15. I mean that, and maybe a 3.3 ERA somewhere around that ballpark. That would be ideal, especially since McCullers is hurt, I believe, and the other guy, I can never pronounce his name, Colin McHugh. Is that right? I think they're both hurt. So, actually, now that I think about it, the Astros may need Dallas Keuchel. But I think he just fits well with that rotation after Garrett Cole and Verlander. After saying all that, it's kind of hard to really, take a step back. And it really is, right? But as far as the rest of the division, I think the Angels are going to be fighting for that number 2 spot. Them in Seattle. They both are teams that made some moves. The Angels
picked up some pitching.
They picked up some pitching. Matt Harvey could turn out to be something. He gets lost out there in L.A. Maybe the bright lights are not that bright in L.A. as they were in New York.
I think that's exactly the problem for him, is he's going to be in L.A. So I don't expect that signing to be a big deal.
Yeah, but I mean, the games.
I think that's part of his problem.
Yeah, but the games are in L.A. The hype is just not there. I mean, it's just not. But anyway, Seattle, they unloaded a lot of money, and they picked up Jay Bruce. They picked up some other minor league players that are probably not going to, make any effect this season, maybe in the future. But I think that they could still be a team that could battle for that number 2 spot. So, I guess the Astros are going to run away with it. I mean, there's really... it's funny with the Astros. After the Cardinals got caught stealing their scouting reports or something like that, it's kind of like they flip-flopped. Right after that.
Yeah.
So, for whatever that's worth.
Look, I think the Astros are probably... if we had to rank them 1 to 30, I think the Astros are very clearly one of your top 5 teams in baseball right now.
Yeah.
You're looking at a team that... has no holes in their lineup. They're a solid team. They can manufacture runs. They can hit for power. They've got clutch hitting. Pitching wise, they've got a pretty solid 1-2 punch. I think that young kid's going to be really good as well. Forrest, whatever his name is.
Forrest Whitley.
Yeah, the only question with the Astros to me is their bullpen, but I think their bullpen's good enough. And, to me, they're a stacked team. How Keuchel is still unsigned, I don't understand. And I feel like he's going to end up back with the Astros.
Yeah.
Same thing with Kimbrel with Boston. Although that one may go Kimbrel may end up someplace else, but I think ultimately he's going to take a pay cut, and he's going to not a pay cut. He's going to take less than what he thinks he's worth, and he's going to stay with Boston. But I don't understand what's going on with Keuchel and Kimbrel. It blows my mind that two pitchers of that caliber are still unsigned here at the end of March. It's amazing to me.
Well, Kimbrel, for one, he's a bullpen guy, and he wasn't really all that great last year. I don't think he was one of the... He wasn't really... I mean, Boston pretty much let it be known that he wasn't going to be their closer in most of the games, and he wasn't.
Right. No, I'm not saying he's great, but he's a pretty good reliever.
Yeah.
And people... In the last few years, baseball teams snap up relievers like it's...
I'm surprised the Rays haven't picked them up, right? I mean, they like bullpenning
stick him in their bullpenning scenario.
Yeah, Keuchel I'm more surprised of because he's a starter, and I mean, he's decent.
Keuchel's a serviceable 2 or 3.
Right.
I mean, he could be a 2 on some rotations, and he'd be a 3 just about everywhere, except for maybe the Nationals. That's about the only place he wouldn't be a 3. But, shit, that's pretty good. And for him to be sitting out there, I don't know if he's asking for too much or his agent sucks or what, but it's amazing to me that he's still out there.
Man, the Indians picked up Cody Allen, too, the reliever, who I really wanted for the Mets. The reliever from the Indians.
Mm-hmm.
I thought he was a good value, man. He got an $8 million contract. He's 30 years old. What's his name? Andrew Miller got like $20 million, and he's 33. I really wanted Cody Allen for the Mets. I think that's if the Angels are leading after 8 innings, then he's pretty good. He could be valuable to that. The Angels also picked up a catcher, Jonathan Lucroy,
which is not a bad pickup.
No, for a catcher, you're not going to find a Buster Posey every year.
True.
The Angels made some moves. It's
made some moves for sure. And a healthy Ohtani and a healthy Mike Trout all year.
Now, pitcher Ohtani or hitter Ohtani?
He does it all, man.
I think we're going to see less and less of him pitching.
You think they're going to move him strictly to the outfield?
And I think they should. It was a good experiment. I don't think look, if you want to keep this kid, because he's still a kid, he's barely 27 years old. Yeah. Don't fuck up his future. Just let him bat, and that's it.
But wouldn't you love to see a guy do it all year long? I want to see a guy do it one season. One season.
He did do it.
Yeah, but he was hurt most of the season. I'm talking like for the full year. For the full year, I want to see one guy get 20 starts, win 10 games, bat 290, hit 28 home runs, and have 75 RBIs. I want to see that one season.
I would like to see that too. I think that would be the end of Ohtani. I think it long term I don't think it will work out for him.
Yeah, long term I don't think it would work, but I want to see it for one season. One full season, I want to see it. Hey, look, the biggest question out in the AL West is Chris Davis going to hit 247 again?
Oh shit! Yeah, that's right. He does.
Over under on Chris Davis from the A's hitting 247.
Any even money?
Last 3 years, it'd have been a push.
I'm gonna go over.
Over?
I'm gonna go over.
I'm gonna go over as well.
How much over? 248.
250. He started
0.2475.
He went 1 for 4 on opening day.
So did he?
He was 250. I don't know what he did to the second day. But,
I don't know what he did.
But if he went 1 for 4 again the second day, he's really solidifying that 250, which would be the over.
That's right.
So
that'd be something if he bats 247 again.
Again? It'd be a miracle.
That'd be like one of the rare feats of
Hey, I wonder
baseball.
if he gets to the last day of the season and he's hitting 247 if he says, "Coach, I need the day off."
Nah, fuck that. You want to hit higher. Take the chance.
Yeah, but then what if you hit lower? then everyone's gonna be like, he's on the decline.
Yeah.
He's obviously fading.
All right, so I guess
I got the Astros.
you got the Rangers.
I got the Astros for show.
Yeah, I guess give me the Astros too.
All
Tough to
right.
go against them.
Now let's move on to the AL Central. This is another division that I have no idea what's going to happen. So just to recap, the Indians last year won the division. They ran away with it with 91 wins. Second place was Minnesota with 78, Detroit 64, the White Sox 62, and the Royals at 58. And when you see that, your first thought is that gap is too big for anyone to make up in one season. But the Indians strike me as a team that might be on the decline. And the Twins strike me as a team that may be coming up. Same thing with the Tigers. Same thing with the White Sox. Now, granted, the Tigers and the White Sox, it'd be hard to be worse than they were last year. 64 and 62 wins is not a huge hurdle to overcome, but I think they're going to be better than that. Heck, even the Royals at 58, I think will be better.
Do you?
Not much better.
You think that over under? You think they'll go over?
The Royals over 58?
Yeah.
Yeah, you have to. The Royals are bad.
I would pick the under on the
Really?
Royals. Yeah, with Salvador
Put that-
Perez being down.
Put that in your notes off to the side. That'll be interesting to see 6 months from now. Royals
They're
58.
Let me see.
You're saying over. You're saying under 58. I'm
Yeah.
gonna go over 58.
The Orioles had 47 wins last year. I mean, they're going to be not much better than 47 wins.
Okay. Well, just put it down there. I've got the Royals going over 58. You've got them going under 58.
All right.
So, just for funsies. Look, on paper, I think the Cleveland Indians are the best team in that division, but I worry about that team. Jose Ramirez went down today, fouled the ball off of his leg. That's one of those lingering
Off his knee.
Off his knee, which is
Yikes.
worse. And that's one of those problems. Now, the X-rays were negative, but that seems to be one of those problems that can be a lingering issue.
Lindor is hurt a little bit.
Lindor's starting the season off dinged up. They lost some of their pitching. They've had some turmoil with their pitchers running their mouth in the media and shit like that. This team just feels like it's about to fall apart. And I still think they're going to win the division, I think. But, man, I would not be surprised if they didn't. And if they don't, Minnesota's your logical choice. But do you really want to hang your hat on the Twins?
Yeah, I don't...
Didn't the Twins pick up Gonzalez?
The Twins picked up a handful of players, and I think the most they spent was like $50 million. You know, like they picked up Nelson Cruz, Jonathan Shoup. They picked up
Marwin Gonzalez.
That was a good
That
pickup.
was a great pickup. $21 million.
Who else?
Nelson
And some pitching. I don't think the pitching was that good, from what I remember. Again, this isn't, the Twins are another team. I thought last year they would make the playoffs. The Twins come off as another team like the Reds. They made moves, but I don't think it's going to be enough to really give the Indians any reason to look back in the rearview mirror. But they'll be competitive. The Indians, I don't know if they're coming or going. Kluber was in, the middle of trade talks all winter long. He ends up staying. He's now 34 years old. He's going to be the opening day starter. But how much time do they have left? They have somewhat of a young team, but not really. They weren't. Them and the Cubs. It's kind of funny. The Cubs won, and everyone was like, man, this could be a dynasty, or they could be, a team that could be, go to the World Series for the next few years or whatever. And they kind of fell back. And the Indians are kind of on the same. I feel like they're on the same course. I think we're letting the past 2 seasons, their records and making the playoffs fool us because of the lack of talent or good play from the rest of the division. So while I think Minnesota made some moves to get better, because I think a team that makes some moves, they're trying to get better. That's clear.
Yeah.
I think you were a year late from last year. I think the White Sox are the team to really watch. That's another young team that they're putting together, and they were in talks. Not that they were in talks with, but there was talk about them possibly getting Machado and Harper.
They were in there towards the end.
Well, you know what? There won't be any of that on this team. This team can kind of play together and not worry about having that one superstar on the team and all the talk being about just that one superstar. So I think the White Sox are going to be a much more improved squad. It's just, when you look at it overall, it's kind of hard to pick against the Indians to win the division. And the Tigers are another team. I don't know what the hell they're doing. It seems like
not much.
They're kind of hand tied with Cabrera's contract, and shit, I can't tell you another player on that team really. And the Royals are going to be Royals, and that's about it.
It's concerning when you see a big part of the Indians bullpen go away. So Andrew Miller, Cody Allen, both gone.
That's right. Yeah.
Lindor and Ramirez starting the season off hurt. You added Hanley Ramirez, which that almost feels like subtraction by addition, as opposed to addition by subtraction. And I think Minnesota did make some good moves.
They lost Michael Brantley.
They lost Michael Brantley as well to a league foe in the Astros. Man, I think I've talked myself into it. I think the Twins are going to win the Central.
I think the Twins are going to win the Central? Yeah. That's a good pick. I think that's a good pick.
I made it.
The thing is, we're talking a 13-game gap between Cleveland and second place Minnesota last season. Do the Indians fall back enough, and do the Twins, or in my case the White Sox, make such a large improvement that they can really contend? You know what I'm saying?
What we should do is we should look at the WAR for Andrew Miller, Cody Allen, and Michael Brantley, and
average it out,
and Josh Donaldson.
That's right, yeah.
And compare that to the WAR for Marwin Gonzalez and Shoop and who's the other guy that the Twins picked up?
Nelson Cruz.
We should do that math.
That's too much math for me. I'm gonna go with the Indians. I don't think they'll fall off that much. And the Twins, I know the Twins are going to bite me in the ass, because when I don't think they're going to make the playoffs, they make the playoffs like they did 2 years ago. Last year, I thought they were going to make the playoffs. They don't make the playoffs. This year, I don't think they're going to make the playoffs. So guess what? You're probably going to be right. Never fails. I'm the jinx, man. I am the kiss of death. I swear to God. I really am.
All right. And now, the last division to go through.
The most boringest division.
No storylines.
There really is none.
Nothing to talk about here, folks. The AL East. Boston won the division last year with 108 wins. Let me remind you, they also went on to win the World Series. The Yankees came in second with 100 wins, 8 games back. The Tampa Bay Rays at 90 wins. The Toronto Blue Jays at 73 wins. And just 61 games out of first place, the Baltimore Orioles with 47 wins.
61.
Here's the question. Have the Red Sox fallen back and the Orioles moved up enough to close that 61-game gap?
Listen, even if you...
Let's start adding up wars.
Even if you... even if you took the screen and put it upside down, the Orioles still wouldn't be in first place.
They fall to the bottom.
They fall to the bottom. I mean, where do you want to go? This is really, it's really not an. It's really a boring division for me. This is really boring because we know what we're gonna get.
You've said this over and over again about this division, that it's boring, and this. I think it's going to be a little more exciting this year. I think Tampa Bay is going to make some noise in that division. Obviously, the Yankees and the Red Sox are what everyone's going to talk about, but the Rays have, there's some stuff there. I think. This is just my personal opinion, right? I think the Red Sox are going to have a bit of a letdown. It's tough going all the way to the World Series. It's a long process. I think it takes a little something out of you sometimes. Yeah. Corey used his pitching staff in ways that we haven't really seen before in the playoffs, where he went with guys back, 3 days in a row and stuff. And yeah, it's just for one series. It's just over 1 7-game stretch. What's the big deal? I think it's a big deal. Mm-hmm. And so I expect them to take a step back. I know at 108 wins, there's not a lot of teams that win 108 one year and then go out and win 109 the next year. So maybe I'm not saying anything all that deep and philosophical, but I do think they're going to fall back. The Yankees, I expect to stay steady.
Yeah.
I expect another high 90s season out of them. And Tampa Bay at 90 wins last year, if those two kind of come back to them a little bit, look, they locked up Snell. Who's the other pitcher they picked up?
Charlie Morton from the Astros. They picked up
Charlie Morton from the Astros, which I think is a great pickup. So now you've got, in that weird system that they use, openers. They've got a solid 1-2. If they go openers for those other 3 slots, they can make something happen. And I think the Rays will make some noise in this division. I don't expect much out of Toronto. Obviously, I don't expect anything out of Baltimore other than easy wins for the rest of the division. But I think it's going to be a 3-team race. I think it's going to be a fight. I don't think the Rays are going to go away. I think the Rays are better than they were last year. And it's hard to win 108 games over and over again. No. It's hard to win 100 games over and over again. And while I know I said that for one team that won 100 games in the Astros that they're going to do it again, their division to me is much easier than this. Because you have to deal with the Red Sox and the Rays if you're the Yankees. Because you have to deal with the Yankees and the Rays if you're the Red Sox. Because you have to deal with the Yankees and the Red Sox if you're the Rays. It's a tougher division. I think it's going to be a 3-team fight this year, and I think it's going to be pretty interesting to watch.
Does that say 18 games out of first place, but there's a differential of 10 games between wins and losses? Am I looking at that right?
Yeah, so it's 100.
Oh, it's 18 from the... Okay.
From the Red Sox.
Never mind.
Yeah.
My bad. Yeah, I agree with Boston having a little bit of a letdown. I think they re-signed Nathan Eovaldi. I think that was a very good move by them. But now I just without Kimbrel, I think they lost Joe Kelly to the Dodgers, another reliever. I think they're going to be struggling to find consistency, someone that can be a setup and a closer. For the Red Sox, unless they just go by committee, right? Or, I don't know. But I can see a pretty big letdown. Well, not big, but enough to possibly, not look as dominant as they were. And any little, if they win 100 games, people will probably say, man, this team is really taking a step back, right? Because they dominated from beginning to end last season.
Yeah.
So,
and the other thing, too, you have to remember is, look, I think 2018 was one of those years where everything just went perfect. Alex Cora pushed all the right buttons. It's hard to do that again.
Yeah.
And, he's a young manager. And, they went out and they re-signed Steve Pearce, which feels like a loyalty move. Feels like a thank you move to me, not a move that we need to keep this guy because he's an integral part of our offense and our defense.
MVP of the World Series.
Yeah, no, I understand. For that 7-game stretch, he was an MVP. I'm going to go ahead and guess that over 162 games, he's not going to be mentioned in the MVP conversation.
Oh, no.
Right? Mookie Betts, yes. Steve Pearce, not so much. Strikes me as a bit of a thank you, token gift, we're going to keep this guy type of move. And, it worries me that it feels like a letdown's coming with that team, a step back. Look, are they going to win 75 games? No, obviously they're going to be in contention, but I think the Rays are a little bit better. I think the Yankees are holding steady. The Yankees kept J-Happ, right?
They did.
And all they really lost was McCutchen.
They picked up James Paxton.
Right?
DJ LeMahieu.
That's good too.
From the Rockies. I mean, they made some moves.
I'm okay with that. That doesn't blow my hair back or anything.
The Yankees made some moves, and they let it be known to the other young guys on that team that, hey, we want you around. We didn't go pick up a Manny Machado. We didn't go pick up a Bryce Harper. We didn't go pick up an Arenado, although I would never count him out. Well, now that he's signed, right? Yeah. But so I think the Yankees and we're not even freaking talking about Tanaka, who can still pitch. I mean, he's still fucking throwing the ball out there. Like he can still pitch, and we're not even mentioning Judge and Stanton and what they can do. I mean,
and quite frankly, a quiet off season may be good for those guys.
Right, exactly.
So they don't have to deal with the circus of Trout's $430 million contract extension. They don't have to deal with the circus of Bryce Harper. They don't have to deal with the circus of Manny Machado. All they have to do is go out and play baseball, and I think that's going to be helpful to them. So I think this is going to be a pretty neat 3-team race.
Yeah, if I had to pick 3 teams, I would pick the Blue Jays. I could see the Blue Jays being a little more competitive. I can't wait until they call up Vlad Jr. I think he's really gonna put a spark into that team. I just don't trust the Rays. I mean, it was a very good season last year. I don't know if they can do it again. That's a team that's always been inconsistent. They'll give you 2 good years and then kind of fall off, and it's just I don't. If I had to pick, I would say the Blue Jays are going to finish 3rd. Yankees 1, Boston 2, but...
All right, write it down. Yeah, you said Yankees win the East.
Yeah, they win the East.
I agree with you. I think the Yankees will win the East. Wild card.
So who comes out of the wild card for you?
I think the wild card in the American League is going to be Tampa Bay and Boston.
Tampa Bay and Boston.
So the Rays and the Red Sox.
Oh, God. I'm going to pick, what do we have? Cleveland, Minnesota, White Sox, Oakland. I'm going to pick the Angels to make the wild card in the American League.
I like that. Who are they going to beat?
Who are they going to beat?
In the wild card game.
Oh,
that you hate so much.
They're going to beat Boston.
Nice. Put that down.
I think they beat Boston.
I want to see that. That'd be good. Who wins the American League?
I have no clue. I'm gonna go. This is tough, man. It's gonna come down to the Yankees and the Astros, and I'm gonna go with the Astros. I'm gonna go with the Astros. Is that who you were gonna pick?
I agree with you. I do think it comes down to those 2 teams, but I think the Astros are the best team in baseball. So I guess it's no surprise that in my World Series of Astros-Rockies, I'm picking the Astros to win the World Series.
Yeah.
How's that for a crazy pick?
Well, I mean, the Astros have been my pick since like a month ago. I've been calling the Astros. I've been having the Astros for a while now. They just look like a complete team. I mean, you look at that infield; it's good. I think the starting pitching is good enough. The outfield, they got young players coming up that are gonna have a chance to make an impact this season. Yeah. So I'm liking the Astros. What? Okay, hold on. I had something for you here.
Uh-oh.
So, let's see. Let's see what we got. Hold on here.
You want to go over awards until you find what you're looking for?
Yeah, go ahead. Do that.
So, we'll go MVP. I think it'll be Trout in the American League, and I think it'll be Arenado in the National League. And I don't think I need to explain those at all.
Who was your MVP?
Trout.
Oh, yeah, Trout.
And Arenado.
Damn it, Trout was my pick last year. So the two guys that get contracts are going to win the MVP.
Yes.
That shit never happens.
I know. Isn't that a terrible pick by me? But you wait and see. Come October, you're going to be like, damn, you nailed it. Those guys are different. They don't strike me as contract hunters. Right? Like, Arenado has been consistently really good. It's not like some other guys that, like, it's the last year of their contract and all of a sudden they're MVP type players, right? And same thing with Trout.
Yeah, no, I agree with you 150% because I'm a true believer of there are contract headhunters out there.
Yeah.
I mean, they...
Well, I used to joke around...
I mean, I am too, right?
Yeah. I used to joke around that you should make the entire roster either work it out so that all of the contracts end the same year and that year you win like 140 games, right? Or sign everyone to a one-year deal, which would be very difficult to get good players to do.
My American League MVP, I think this kid is gonna... I can't say breakout or have a monster season because he's already a monster. He's been having... He had a great season last year. I think the team is going to ride this guy all the way to the American League Championship Series. I think he's going to have an incredible season. And he's a good fielder. He's a good fielder. Aaron Judge. Aaron Judge is going to be my AL MVP.
Not a bad pick.
And for the National League, I have no clue. Shit.
It's got to be Harper, right? I mean,
No, definitely not.
You've been talking about Harper.
Let me see. Nationals, Cardinals, Rockies, Brewers. Oh, man. Nationals. I have no idea.
That's a good pick.
Who should I pick?
Anyone but Arenado.
Why?
Because I picked Arenado.
I mean, but I may think that he's going to win MVP also.
No, you said you have no idea.
Right, but maybe now that I looked at your answer, this is an open book test. I can, I can maybe
cheater. You know who we didn't talk about? Who I'm excited to see?
Who's
while
that?
you think about your MVP in the National League.
I'm going to take a stab at it.
Who?
Is a pitcher?
Yes.
Dodgers?
No.
Okay.
The kid from the Mariners, Kikuchi. First of all, if it's pronounced Kikuchi, is there a better name than Kikuchi?
Kikuchi.
I'm looking forward to seeing that kid pitch. He looked very good.
Did he?
In his first game in Japan. He pitched his second game.
Is he a starter?
He's a starter. One of those Japanese signings. I think he's going to be pretty good. I'm excited to see him this season.
Those are a crapshoot.
Yeah, they are, but you never know. So have you picked your MVP yet?
I'm going to pick Goldschmidt.
Oh, that's a good pick.
I'm going to pick Goldschmidt.
Last year, I picked a guy who used to be on the D-backs.
That's right.
Went to another team and had a monster season.
That's right.
One of his teammates just happened to have a more monster season.
He sure did. I forgot about that. That was a good pick, by the way.
Cy Young.
Oh. In the American League. I haven't done my homework. I have no fucking idea. I don't know.
I'll go first. In the American League, I think Garrett Cole is going to win the AL Cy Young. That kid has made tremendous gains since he's been with the Astros. I expect that to continue to happen. I expect that by the end of the season, the Astros will look at him as the number one. There's going to be a passing of the torch as to who the number one starter is on the Astros. It's going to go from Verlander to Garrett Cole. I think Garrett Cole's going to have a monster year.
But Verlander's making $33 million, bro. He can't pass the torch yet.
No, it's a figurative torch. It's not the literal torch.
I know.
And in the National League,
drum roll, please.
look. I think the top 3 from last year are going to be the top 3 this year, but I think we're going to be able to throw some other names in there. I don't think it's going to be as clear cut as it was last year. Last year we had 3 top-notch starters in the National League.
Yeah.
In Scherzer, DeGrom, and Nola. And I think those 3 guys will be in the hunt again. No, like I said, I think Nola's numbers are going to get even better because he's got a much better lineup helping him out. DeGrom is going to only have himself to depend on. If Syndergaard stays healthy, that type of 1-2 punch can propel guys to even greater numbers. But Scherzer struck out 300 batters last year, and that just does not happen that often. I expect to see some other names in there, but I'm going to go with Scherzer. I know that's a bit of a chalk pick, but
that was my pick last season.
Yeah, honestly, last year, but for the DeGrom may have a drop off this year just because how could you not, right?
Right.
Last year may have been a career year for that guy. And if that's the case, Scherzer's going to win it because he's not dropping off. I mean, that guy is just incredible.
I'm going to start off in the National League because I can't think of an American League Cy Young. But I'm going to go with Walker Buehler on this one. I think that kid is the real deal, and he might be the only bright spot in that rotation aside from Kershaw this year. So I'm going to go with Walker Buehler.
I like it.
In the American League, oh man, who did I pick for the American League? Yankees, Indians, Astros, Angels. I would think that one of the Cy Youngs would come from a playoff team.
Not necessarily.
Probably.
Both Cy Youngs did not come from playoff teams last year.
So, in the American League,
did you hear what I just said?
Yes.
Okay.
I have no clue in the American League. I can't think of anybody. I was thinking about some guy from the Orioles. Why are you laughing? I mean some guy on the Orioles has a chance to be, the only bright spot.
They all have a chance. Every last one of them.
Fuck, I don't know. Who? You know what? I'm gonna go with Tanaka.
I like it.
Tanaka, the Yankees are gonna wrap up the Cy Young and the MVP. Screw it.
Excellent.
Any you got a surprise team at the? Any surprises? No.
I think I said this earlier as we were going through the divisions. I think people are not expecting anything from the Nationals because they lost Bryce Harper, and I think they're gonna be in a dogfight for that division. And I think that's a really good division. So to me, the Nationals in a way are going to be a surprise team, and also the Rays. A lot of people don't even know the Rays won 90 games last year, and I think they're better than they were last year. So I think that they are going to surprise some people. Surprise the other way. I'm very worried about the Indians, and I'm very worried about the Cubs. The Cubs could really become a dumpster fire.
Yeah.
Really quick. I mean, that situation in Chicago could absolutely crumble by May 15th.
It'll be interesting how Theo Epstein reacts to that, right? I mean, what he did in Boston was incredible. What he did with Chicago. I mean, won a freaking championship that first year. It'll be interesting. I think he's really gonna have to earn his money if things go south.
I feel confident that it will be a 1-year letdown.
Yeah.
Because he'll go out and he'll get a new manager and right that ship sooner rather than later. So I'm not worried about their long-term viability.
My surprise team in the American League is going to be the White Sox, and in the National League, pick Cincinnati. I'll pick Cincinnati. I just like the moves that both teams made, and they just have that kind of feel of a team that no one is talking about, obviously, and that kind of like the Braves last year. Nobody was talking about them.
It's funny. No one's
season.
really talking about the Braves this year either.
No. And it's because they stayed quiet during free agency.
They didn't do much. They didn't lose much. They didn't gain much. Their biggest signings were guys that they already had.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like...
Yeah. So...
Well, we have beat the hell out of some baseball. Hey, folks, we made it through all 6 divisions. We gave you our World Series predictions, Cy Young, MVP. If you guys want to share your thoughts with us, you can email the show at positivesports10@gmail.com. Positivesports10@gmail.com. If you want to tell me that all I do is pick the favorites, because that's what people tell me all the time, F you. But you can tell me that on Twitter at eMontana21. If you want to tell Alex that he doesn't know anything about anything, where do they tell you that?
Just email the show, positivesports10@gmail.com. That's positivesports10@gmail.com.
But if you want to say something nice to you, where can they say that?
positivesports10@gmail.com. That's positivesports10@gmail.com.
Are you in Twitter jail again?
No, I'm not. But I've really given up on Twitter. I have no.
You're on Twitter all the time.
I am. I've just given up on Twitter. It's hard to, I feel like I had a good Twitter going on the very first one. You can never duplicate the very first time.
I think your Twitter's fine.
Just can't duplicate it, bro.
Any other baseball talk you want to talk about?
No.
We lost. Well, I shouldn't say we lost. We're losing a legend in baseball in Ichiro, right? He's retiring. After the 2 games in Japan. What an incredible career that guy had. He had a great career, albeit a short one, in Japan. He had a great career here. The man had 2 careers, really. And you put it together and it makes for a great career. It'd be interesting to see some older guys hit some milestones. And you and I talked about this a little bit previously. Bartolo Colon is close to 250 wins, which... Everyone, huh?
3? Is it 3?
3 more, right? Everyone talks about 300 wins. Look, the way the game is today, we're not going to see another 300-game winner. It's just not going to happen. We're just not going to see it. You got teams like the Rays that are going to openers instead of starters, right? It's just not going to happen. The game has changed too much, and we're not going to see any more 300-game
But
winners.
In all honesty, the Rays don't have or have never had, aside from Price, a pitcher... of that caliber,
right? But it's not just the Rays that are doing this, right?
No, but who are doing it? The teams that don't have a true 1 and 2.
Yeah, but even if you have a true 1 and 2, you don't pitch them 35 starts. We talked about this earlier in the show. We've talked about this off air. Guys don't go 35 starts anymore. It just doesn't happen. It's just the game is too. Segmented now. Years ago, your starter went 7 innings.
Oh yeah.
Right? Now you're happy if your starter goes 5. That's 4 innings for shit to go wrong and you miss out on a win. Right? Just ask Jacob deGrom, who won the Cy Young with 10 fucking wins last year. It's too hard. There's too much other stuff going on with these middle relievers and setup men and closer and all this other stuff. The game has just changed such that starters... You don't see pitchers win 25, 28 games anymore. Mm-mm. You just don't see it. So I personally, unless they change the rules, I don't think we're going to see a 300-game winner ever again. I think 250 is the new 300.
It's quite possible that we don't see that again.
No, you won't. It's too difficult.
I wonder what they'll do for the Hall of Fame now, right? I mean, if you've had an outstanding career and you only win 260 games or 240 games.
Well, you're going to get in.
You're going to get in?
Yeah, I think they will. I think more and more the Hall of Fame will be based on where you ranked during your time.
Right.
So in other words, you won 4 Cy Youngs. Now, granted, in those 4 seasons, you didn't win 20 games in any of them, But you won 4 Cy Youngs,
Right.
which means you were the best pitcher in baseball 4 times.
And that's
So I think it's gonna the Hall of Fame voting will look at those kinds of stats as opposed to looking at raw stats that say he had 240 wins.
so go by the era that you pitched in.
Right.
And I'm fine with that. Which
makes
I think
complete
it's right.
sense,
Yeah.
right. It's the same thing with home runs, right? We're not gonna be in 10, 20 years. The 500 home run club's not going to be that big of a deal to us because there's going to be a lot of guys that get there, right? So we're going to be like, yeah, okay, whatever. But you led the league in home runs 6 times. That's going to be impressive to us.
Yeah.
So
Here, I got one for you.
what's that?
Which one of these award winners from 2018 is more likely to win the award again? Mookie
Okay.
Betts, Christian Yelich, Blake Snell, or Jacob deGrom? Who's more likely to win the award they won last season? I think it's Mookie Betts.
Yeah, I think it's one of the MVPs.
Yeah. I think it's Mookie Betts.
For Jacob deGrom, I think you've got Scherzer and Nola to deal with.
Right.
For Snell, you've got Cole, Verlander, Chris Sale. There's a lot of firepower. And, by the way, you were on the Rays.
Right.
So
you're already...
You don't get the media love like those other guys do.
Well, that and it's easier for Jacob deGrom to have a better season, I think, as far as maybe wins.
True.
It's harder for Blake Snell to repeat
Right.
that season. That was a great season he had.
Yeah.
So that's pretty hard.
I agree. Mookie Betts
Or
or
Christian Yelich.
Yelich. I'm going to say Yelich.
Yeah.
Because because I feel the National League's a little more wide open for the MVP race, whereas with the American League, man, Betts has Judge. Fuck, he's got J.D. Martinez to deal with, right?
Well, I think it's Mookie Betts' turn, so maybe to win MVP. He could have fucking won it last year.
Wait, did he?
No, J.D. Martinez won it.
No,
Yeah.
Mookie Betts won MVP.
Oh, Mookie Betts? Oh, yeah, duh. I asked the damn question.
And
Oof.
a healthy Mike Trout, makes it tough as well, because that guy is the best player in baseball.
Yeah?
That's a good question. I like that
Yeah.
one. What else?
Corey Kluber, Madison Bumgarner, Trevor Bauer, or Miguel Cabrera. Which one gets traded?
I think all of them except for Cabrera. I don't think anyone's going to jump on that grenade.
You think the Indians trade Kluber and Bauer?
Well, yeah, I guess they'll only trade one. Well, no, because if it becomes a dumpster fire,
Yeah.
they'll trade them both.
Yeah.
And the Giants are going to trade Bumgarner.
I think so.
Yeah.
I think so.
And Cabrera, I don't think anyone's going to give the Tigers a whole lot for him. So, he's limited to first base and DH. It's tough. It's tough to jump on that grenade, like I said earlier. So.
Manny Machado or Bryce Harper?
Who has a better year?
Who has the bigger impact on their team?
Well, I think by default, it would have to be Manny Machado because that team has much more upside than the
Phillies?
Than the Phillies did,
The
right?
Phillies are stacked.
I know, but that's the thing.
And even
too,
if
right?
they have a good...
the Phillies were well on their way to fighting for that division till the last day of the season. Don't let the fact that they finished 10 games out fool you.
Right.
They faded badly the last month, but August 15th, they were in first place.
Yeah.
Remember last year, I made the comment to Jay. I said, Jay, I did some analytics.
Yeah?
My analytics say that even though they're in first place today, they're not going to win the East.
I
was
glad
right.
you were right.
And I was right. But remember, they were in first place that late in the season.
Yeah.
So they're a good squad. They've added, and not only, they added Harper, which you would think, okay, that puts you over the top. But don't forget, they added other guys that are also going to contribute to that. And sure, Harper will get most of the headlines because he's
Right.
Bryce Harper and it's $330 million they spent on him, or they're going to spend on him. But he's getting a lot of help. In San Diego, it's a different situation. That team had 66 wins last year. If they make it to 86,
no shit.
they go plus 20. The Phillies are not likely to go plus 20.
Right.
So that's the bigger, and it's all going to be attributed to Manny Machado because no one can name anyone else on that team.
One more. Which hitter over 35 years old has a better chance to win MVP? Joey Votto, Miguel Cabrera, Albert Pujols, or Yadier Molina?
None of those guys are going to win MVP.
Why not?
I don't think any of those guys are going to stay healthy.
That wasn't my question.
Well, but my point is, if you don't stay healthy, if you only play 120 games, you're not going to win the MVP.
That'd be pretty cool if one of them can win. Being
It
over
would
35.
be.
I think Votto has the better chance.
Probably out of those four,
Yeah.
he probably does have the best
Especially
chance.
on a team like the Reds this year, where they could be that team that, kind of comes out of nowhere.
Goes
and
plus
surprises.
20, right?
Yeah,
and he gets a lot of credit for it. Yeah, Joey Votto would be my guess out of those four, but it's kind of a moot point because I don't think any of those guys are going to be even close to being in that conversation.
Last one. Does Aaron Judge and Stanton combine 400 home runs? Not 400, 800 home runs.
I was going to say, no way. Not even close. They'll miss it by at least 300.
Yeah.
Do they combine for 100?
Now, Judge could hit 99 like his jersey number, and Stanton could only have one, right? But
Right.
still, they combine for
100. You're looking at basically 50 apiece, or one of them has a monster year and the other one still has to hit 45.
60-40?
When I say monster year, I was thinking 55.
Okay.
No,
No.
that's 100 is too much.
That's too much, but boy, can I see it happen. I mean, with those two, seriously.
If I had to bet, I'd say no.
Yeah, fair enough.
We should do this more often. Like just
Bet?
break out all of these stupid futures prop bets and discuss them like this. I think this is kind of good. I like that you did that.
Yeah.
All right. I think that's enough.
That's enough? It's never enough, man.
We're pushing
What are you
2 hours
talking
here, an hour and 45 minutes.
That's
We've
okay.
never gone this long before.
You guys that are listening or watching, pause it, take a shit, go do what you gotta do, come back.
Oh, no, you don't pause it when you're taking a shit, right? You put your headphones in and take it with you.
True, it depends. If you're in some serious shit, then you gotta concentrate.
No.
You gotta concentrate.
I never have to concentrate that much
Oh yeah.
on natural human activities.
I mean, think about it, bro. Like I can't even read when I'm on my phone when I'm just going through going through issues on the toilet.
This is normal bodily function. I can listen to a podcast while I take a shit.
Yeah.
Or a piss.
Do you stand there and have like the phone out like this?
Well, I don't
you're
watch.
holding your.
I listen on those occasions. I listen.
You're holding little Pepe.
That's just a little Pepe hang in there.
When you go to the restroom, which stall do you pick? The one, the toilet thing, the toiletry. What do you call it? The stall,
urinal.
The urinal. The taller one or the shorter one?
Always the taller one. I'm not short. I'm 6 feet tall. It's funny. I saw an email joking about that. But and I do it. I follow all of the quote unquote rules. Like if there's four and the first one is lower, which one do you go to?
Wait, what?
If you walk in and there's 4 urinals and they're empty and the first one is a lower one, which one do you go to?
I'm assuming that the fourth one is near a stall and I go to that one.
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
You
never go in the middle.
Exactly. So here's another one.
The number 2 and 4C you never want.
Hold on. Here's another one. You walk in. There's 4 urinals. There's someone at the very far one.
Okay.
And the first one is low. Which one do you take?
I go into the fucking stall. Into the handicap one because I want all the space.
Right, that's another one. You walk into the bathroom to go number 2, right? And there's 2 stalls. One's a handicap stall and one's not. What do you?
Listen,
you go to the hand so you can hold on to the bars.
Until the day that they make you have a handicap sign for that
placard.
Yeah, I'm using the handicap one all day.
It's amazing. Like someone sent me that with all these different scenarios, and they all predicted what I would do.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because apparently I'm a true man.
I mean,
so again, the stalls are full. There's only 4 urinals. Someone's using the last one, and the first one is a low one. Which one do you take?
The stall. I go.
No, the stalls are full.
Oh, I'm sorry. Okay, so the fourth one is taken.
The fourth one is taken, and the first one is low.
I'll go to the first one.
You go to the low one.
Yeah. Go to.
That's the second most popular pick. The most popular pick is you go to the second one.
Yeah, but see, you still have a chance for 2 more people to come in. Use that first and the third. Now you got two freaking, those type of guys.
You don't pee that long. Okay, what's the other one? This one's easy. There's 4 stalls. The first one's low, and someone's using it. Which one do you use?
The first one with him. No, I'm just kidding. Okay.
You go to the fourth one.
Yeah. Okay, so there's 4 urinals.
Okay.
They're all the fucking same height, okay?
Oh, okay.
The first and the fourth one. Which one do you take?
I go back to my desk. I don't want to stand next to somebody else.
See, I'll just go to a different floor.
Or that, yeah. Or go to a different floor. But I can't, in our building, I can't do that in our building because you need your card key to get in. And your card key
to the bathroom?
No. Like if you take the stairs down.
Okay.
You got to use your card key. And the card key only works on your floor and the first floor.
Okay, I was about to say, you need a card key to get into the bathroom, bro.
In some places you do. In some places I've been to, yeah.
Your company must not want you to blow that shit up.
Great. We've had a freaking baseball preview and a toilet tutorial.
Hey, maybe our listeners and watchers and lookers didn't
Gawkers, stalkers.
That stalk us all you want.
Yeah, whatever.
Maybe they don't know the ins and outs of using the urinals.
Well,
unless they're female listeners and wait.
Well, they got their own urinal problems.
I can't.
I don't know anything about how.
Can't help you there, ladies. I can help you with plenty of other things. Not that.
I have no idea how women deal with the whole bathroom situation. I know there's not urinals in there. Well, I'm assuming there's not urinals in there. I've never been.
Why don't you find out on Monday?
Yeah, thanks. Alrighty, folks. Well, with that, we've come to the end of another wonderful episode of the Positive Sports Podcast, our 2019 MLB preview. I hope you guys have enjoyed it. Again, if you guys want to share your thoughts with us about who you think is going to win the NL East, who's going to go to the World Series, who's going to be MVP, you can reach the show at positivesports10@gmail.com. Positivesports10@gmail.com. If you want to get a hold of me and bash all of my picks personally, you can do so at eMontana21 on Twitter.
Ditto.
Episode 68, the 2019 MLB preview in the books. Episode 68 can only be one person. Even though it's a baseball episode, it's got to be Jaromir Jagr, hockey player.
There's no famous 68 in baseball?
Not that I know of.
There's got to be.
No, if you're number 68, you got sent to the minors after spring training.
True. Okay. Before you end this podcast, how many times do you think we're going to go back and say, oh, man, we missed that player. He signed with such and such. We didn't even talk about him.
I won't do that at all. Because I don't give a shit.
I will. I know I will.
I will encourage people to comment and give me a hard time about it. Because I think that's kind of fun.
Give him a hard time, not me.
Well, they can't get a hold of you because you're in Twitter.
Sure they can if they email the show. Boom.
They're not going to email you because they don't like you.
That's fine.
Well, folks, the season is kicked off. It's only 2 games in. The real season starts on Thursday, right? The 28th?
28th.
Yep. The 28th. Take the day off and watch some baseball. Enjoy the 2019 baseball season. And as always, folks, ignore the negativity. Be the positivity.
Peace.